So we are going to discuss 5G hacker, that is authentication and key agreement. So here like we are having access network which is having UE and 5G RAN or G0B. In core network we have AMF, AUSF and UDM. So AUSF is also having one component SEF, that is security anchor function. Same way UDM is also having one component, that is ARPF, that is like used for vector generation. Okay, so in kind of legacy 4G, there was one major issue, like where the user permanent identity, you can say MC, was sent in clear text during initial registration. In 5G, we solved this by introducing SUCI. So first of all, we have that initial registration. Okay, the UE initiates the registration using its subscription conceal identity, that is SUCI, to protect its permanent identity. So it is sending in RRC setup complete message. Inside that there is a NAS container. Inside NAS container there will be registration requests, and that registration request will be containing that SUCI. And that SUCI also contains the network public keys, and then like there will be NJP initial view message from NGN to AMF. Okay, and then same NAS request will be there. Now here like AMF can act as a SEF. Okay, so it need to authenticate that particular user. Okay, so that's why it will be sending that AUSF authentication message, or you can say authentication request to AUSF, and it contains SUCI. Okay, and also it can get that serving network name. It is like kind of MNC plus MCC, and it is getting from SUCI only, and it will be sending that particular message to UDM, and again like it will be sending the same SUCI and serving network name. Now in the next phase, like it is the vector generation and challenge. Now here this UDM or ARPF, it will do that SUCI deconcealment and vector generation. So it is having one more component, that is SIDF. So via SIDF it will decrypt SUCI to reveal the SUPI. Okay, and we have ARPF. ARPF is generally used to generate 5G home environment authentication vector, and that are random number, that is rand, authentication token, then expected result, and one master key, that is KAUSF. That is very important for this particular session, and it will be sending all of these to the AUSF. Now AUSF computes the hash of that particular XRES to prevent serving network from knowing the actual expected response. Okay, and it is also going to store that KUSF and XRES, and then it will be sending that authentication response to the AMF, and it will be sending these keys like a random authentication and hash of XRES. Now, now the next step will be the authentication challenge from AMF to UE. So here SEF is going to send the challenge, you can say rand and authentication to the UE, and it is sending transparently through the G0B, means it is going to send over N2 interface or over the NAS interface. Same like it is going to send NGAP download NAS transport, and which includes that authentication request and contains rand and authentication number, and same way like NGRAN is going to forward that particular request down to UE. Now next go to, so in the pre-slide the network challenge the UE with the random number and authentication token. Now we can see the UE response and kind of multi-stage verification that establish security context for the entire 5G session. So here like UE is going to authenticate, and it is also like drive the keys. Okay, so first step it is doing is like UE validates AUTN or authenticates the network, then it computes response, and it also drives that master key, that is KAUSF and SEF keys, and Over the NAS transport, it will be sending that authentication response with RES encapsulated. Then it will be sending from 5G and to AMF. And like next is the network verification. So here like two-step verification will be there. One is the SEF local verification, and next one is the home network verification. So in SEF local verification, that SEAF hashes the received response, and it is going to create hash of response, and that it is having H response from the network side and from the UI side also. Now it compares. Okay, now it is, if it is matches, then it is going to forward that an AUSF UI authentication authenticate request with response encapsulated to the AUSF. Now AUSF will do that home network verification. So it has XRES, and it will compute this XRES with the RES, and if it is like successful, then it is going to drive that anchor keys, that is KSEF and KUSF. And at this time, it will be sending this result success and with SUCI. Okay, so here like this AMF is also like going to store SUCI, and also like it is going to drive some like keys like that are used for ciphering and integrity protection. It also like going to drive some encryption and integrity keys like encryption key and integrated key. Okay, it is going to send those keys over the NAS transport to the UI, and here like UI is also like going to drive those keys, and if it is like okay, then it will be sending that NAS security mode complete message towards the AMF, and like now we have the secure NAS connection between the UI and AMF. That's it from this particular flow. I will see you in next section.